feedback is a really, really important developmental dialogue, but it's not the only developmental dialogue. Let's think about what is feedback and how does it compare to other options we have, and when would we use each of these different options depending on the situation. So let's go back to feedback. Feedback is giving somebody new information about the impact of their behavior on you. You want to focus on feedback in situations where the choices they might have had options. There's no right or wrong answer, but you just want to let them know that the choice they made, it didn't work for you. So you may say, you chose to use a table to present all those data. And for me, I couldn't focus. I kind of zoned out. And I would love to have seen that in a graph, in a picture. That's one possibility, because it's subjective. It's not right or wrong to use a table versus a graph. Or you might say that, when you asked that question at the end of the meeting, I love that. I thought that was exactly where we need to go. And that may be your perspective. Somebody else might have been thinking, come on, no more questions. Let's go. Let's get out of here. So feedback is really perfect when you want someone to understand the impact of their behavior on you, but it's probably subjective. They might get different answers from different people. Another piece of, or another type of developmental dialogue is instruction. And a lot of times what we need is not to give somebody feedback at all. It's not about the impact of their behavior on you. It's whether their behavior was right or wrong, or fit the rules, or was the process or the policy. And we don't need to give feedback for something that's a process. When you put the number 6 in this column, I feel exasperated that I'm going to have to fix it. No, we don't need to go to the effort of giving feedback when it's something objective. So instruction is just simply saying, the date in this column needs to go in the format of month, day, year. You don't have to give it as, the impact on me when you put year, month, day. No, instruction is perfectly viable, but you don't want to give instruction in a situation where there are options. That just overstates what you know, and that doesn't make sense. Another thing we can do is we can give advice. And advice is, again, back to kind of encouraging someone to do something based on your past experience. So you might say, when I have that much information to convey, I find it's good to send something in advance with all the data tables, and then in the room, I share it as a visual. Well, that's nice. That might be true. It might have worked for you before. It's a situation where you're saying, I don't have all the information, and I'm not saying you have to do it this way. It's not an instruction, but I want you to consider this, kind of teaching them, what you've done before and what works. That's advice. And the final option, a great option, is instead of any of those, you could coach the person. And coaching is using open-ended questions to help the person understand what they're trying to accomplish and give them new ways of thinking about accomplishing it. So you might say, okay, when you were thinking about presenting those data, what do you want the audience to take away from this presentation? And then when they answer that question, say, okay, so how might you present the data in a way that's going to lead them to that conclusion, that's going to highlight that takeaway? So coaching doesn't sort of tell them what to do, but it teaches them how to think. It's really valuable. So we have these 4 excellent options for development dialogues. We can give somebody feedback where we give them more insight about how their choices affect other people. We can give them instruction, which is simply to take them straight to the right or wrong way of doing something. We can give them advice, which takes our past experience and offers it up to them. Or we can coach them, get them thinking differently about the problem and achieving their own objectives by now paying attention to new things and having some new insight. Each of these is wonderful, just in different situations. The only thing I want to say, super important, all 4 of those are great. The only one you want to avoid at all costs is judgment. Judgment, where you act as if you own the truth in something that's really subjective, that is never a good idea. So positive judgment just in the form of praise, wow, you're awesome. It's not bad, but it's not very effective. But negative judgment, where you act as if they're doing something wrong when it's only a subjective thing, like, that presentation sucked, that's never a good thing. So developmental dialogues, feedback, instruction, advice, and coaching, all good. Just avoid the judgment.